Blessed good night, we are live. Blessed good night, we are live. And this is Women. This is Women. Welcome to the Chican campaign. Let's talk entrepreneurship. My name is Lucia Cabrera Jones. I am the co-founder and CEO of Women, and I'm just going to let Facebook start notifying you that we are live. I don't want you to miss nothing because we have something very special for you tonight. So start to come as you coming in. I want you to tell us, where are you tuning in from? If you are going to catch this replay, I want you to hashtag at Women Replay. Tell us, where are you tuning in from? And I just given Facebook some time. In the meantime, I'm going to check here on my next device to make sure that we are live on our page. And you start coming in. I am seeing already that Facebook started to send out the notifications. Remember, bless someone tonight with this powerful and awesome interview. We have a treat for you. This is the day 25th of our Chican campaign. Let's talk entrepreneurship. You know, it's happening every Tuesday and every Thursday of the month of August at 7 p.m. and every Sunday of the month of August at 5 p.m. Again, my name is Lucia Cabrera Jones, co-founder and CEO of Women, and this is Let's Talk Entrepreneurship session. As you coming in, tell us, where are you tuning from? Tonight we have someone so special. I mean, day 25th, day 25 of this campaign. And I am sure that if you have been following this campaign since August the 1st, every single day, we have something special for you. Always looking out to give you value in this platform. So right now, if you are tuning in, I am seeing you, but I cannot acknowledge you if you don't leave a comment, if you don't leave a like. Tell us, where actually are you tuning in from? We want to hear from you. And let me give you this hint. Tonight, we are going to actually testify about the power of this campaign. Wow, we have Candice Maglow. Yes, Candy is inside. So Candice, if you are already inside, just go and share this live. Send this link to a friend. Send this link to a female entrepreneur who actually needs to hear this. We also have Joanna Mungli Julian. Good evening to you. Oh my God, I mean, the room start to get packed. We have Avion from Chaguanas, Trinidad. Come on, ladies. Tonight, you cannot, listen how I am telling you, you cannot deprive a female, a sister, a woman from listening to this powerful interview tonight. The link is right here. Share it, because I was saying that tonight is a living testimony of what this platform is actually doing. The connections that we are creating through this campaign. And let me tell you, these connections are divine connections. This is not by the side connection. These are divine connections. Tonight, I'm so humble and privileged to introduce a lady that at least I saw her comments for the very first time on this platform. And today, she is our powerhouse guest. a business specialist, a woman that wears so many hats that I don't want to miss none. So hence, without taking any more time from her, I want you to welcome with a truckload of comments, hearts. With love, Mrs. Rhonda Glynn. Miss Rhonda, a pleasant good night to you. I am so happy that you say yes, that you make yourself available to come and grace us with your awesome testimony tonight. A testimony that goes from a very, very, very successful, for what we have read about you already in your bio, an extremely successful career on the corporate world. So many things you did in the corporate world, right? Nothing stopped you to becoming this powerful entrepreneur and women of value to impact our females and the community of women at large. Welcome, welcome. And Miss Rhonda, the first thing I want you to tell this awesome audience, who is Miss Rhonda Glynn? And listen, I don't want you to be modest. Okay. I don't want you to cut off nothing from that awesome bio. Tell us a little bit about you from the very humble beginnings to date.
Okay, so good night, everyone. Good night, Lucia. I am Rhonda Maria Glynn. I am a business strategist. I work with small business owners and startup companies. My real area of operation and my major passion is female entrepreneurship, but I also work with male entrepreneurs as well. So who is Rhonda? Rhonda is an alpha female. I am an alpha female and I make no apologies for it. But I didn't become an alpha female overnight. And let me give you an idea of what an alpha female is in case you don't know. An alpha female is a female who stands up for other females, a female who makes a way for other females, a female who stands in her power, and a female who has a voice and is not afraid to use it. So, background. I started in aviation as an airport security officer. I was just like a TSA officer. And I started that, worked for a few years, and then got transferred to different departments. And I had a mentor who saw my talent, my ability to work well, work on my own, bring ideas to the table. And he literally took me under his wing and exposed me to the world of aviation. So I went from just being an aviation security officer to a training officer, to a course developer, to a trainer, to a lecturer, to an internationally certified instructor. That was my trajectory. I didn't know that I was as good as I am, and just as I pour into other people, somebody poured into me. But here's the thing. When I was 40 years old, and one of these good days, this will be a TEDx talk. When I was 40 years old, I went back to school, 40. Prior to 40, although I was qualified in aviation, I only had 4 O-levels. So I decided, you know what? I'm permanently employed. If I fail a module, I will pay and do it over. And with that in mind, I went from a certificate course to, by the time I did the certificate course, the first 3 A's I ever got, it was like, wow, this is something that I could actually do. And then the very next year, GATE came out. And I always tell people that I am one of the people who, had it not been for GATE, I never would have become as qualified as I am. So the very next year, GATE came out. And I went from an associate degree, I did not do a diploma, I skipped the diploma. I went from a certificate to an associate, from an associate to a bachelor's degree, from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree. And then I took 1 year off, and now I am in a doctoral program where I am doing a Doctor of Business Administration. And this is not something that is miraculous, although it sounds like that. It is something that anybody could do. It just means that you need to start somewhere. So a little bit more. I tell people that, and I told my last boss that, I said that I could sit in my job and talk people business and get involved in all kinds of different pursuits. But then I would be 60 with 4 levels, and I would not know what I was going to do. And I've always asked God for one thing. Don't let me end up where I started. And the one thing that I knew that I could do was read, write, and remember. But going back to school was an entirely mind-blowing experience in that it helped me to harness my ability. It allowed me to be able to critically think, and it helped me to find my place in the world. And those are the things that it is not so much about the qualifications, it is more about what you learn at tertiary level. Now, I also worked shift while I was doing all of that. So try to imagine this for a second. I was working 7 to 3, 2 to 10, 10 to 7. That was my shift rotation. So when I worked 7 to 3, I would go to school in the evening. When I worked 2 to 10, I would take that day off. By the time I got all my degrees, I had no vacation leave. When I worked 10 to 7, I would go to school and then come to work in the night, and I would work until morning. I'm telling you these things because everything that you want wants you. And everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So here's the thing. Here's the next step in this journey. So between my master's and my doctorate, I was seconded to the Office of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to work on a research team. So I spent 2 years in the Office of the Prime Minister. And within that period of time, that is when I applied to and was accepted into my doctoral program. Now, try to think for a second that this was somebody who was, to all intents and purposes, a security guard. That's what I started as. And I decided that where I wanted to go had to start with me. It had to start with me. The other thing that I want to tell you is that when I came back after the 2 years, because sometimes people want to believe that, that you have to get all this amount of support and people have to believe in you. And I had a fairy godfather or godmother, or things were always in my favor. People see me on social media and think that I'm living my best life. I am living a life that God has given me to work with. And I took what he gave me. I took that little mustard seed that he gave me, and I've been using that ever since. So when I came back to my place of employ, I realized that I had outgrown the organization and people wasn't treating me so nicely. I mean, it is very hard for you to be the brightest girl in the class. People have a way that they will make you feel small, especially if you are reminding them of the things that they are not doing. So that I had to deal with a lot of stupidness. And as entrepreneurs, you will deal with it as well. People who say, well, she feels that she knows too much, or who is she anyway? Or she just gets on like that because she have all these qualifications. I remember sitting down in a meeting and somebody telling me, well, you like to show off and say that you have all these degrees. And my response was for that, because I was always a hot mouth girl. My response to that is that I wasn't passing by UE and they throw it over the fence. I had to make huge sacrifices to go back to school. So when I came back and I realized people weren't treating me very nicely, and I started to feel very sad and very hurt because I love the aviation industry so much. And I was so much part of training so many good officers and working as an adjunct lecturer as well and making a difference in my industry. I had a decision to make. I could either stay there and complain for the rest of my life until 60, or I could make a decision what would be my next incarnation. With that in mind, 5 months after I came back to my job, I started this consultancy firm. I started it in 2018. I was still working where I was working, and I just bravely stepped out and said, you know what? What are the things that you're good at? That's the question that I asked myself. What are the things that you're good at? One, I was accustomed to working in a global environment as compared to a local environment. Aviation teaches you how to network. So aviation is like a global village, and there's always something that you have that somebody wants, and there's always something that you need that somebody else has. It's a global village. So to be able to operate in a global village, it is about building relationships. As a course developer in an industry that is one of the most regulated industries in the world, if not the most regulated industry in the world, I had to learn how to do process and systems. So all these things became important to me. And the ability to be comfortable in front of people as a lecturer, you're talking to people from all over the world. The classes are not homogeneous, and you're going to meet people in the aviation industry every day that you're probably never going to see again. So what I did, I took everything that I had already learned at that time it was 27 years, and I decided, you know what? This could work in another environment. And the environment that I most wanted to make a difference in is female entrepreneurship. And that was my next move.
So, and we are so happy that you decided to make that move. Because of that move, you know, we have you here today. And but Rhonda, we was talking behind the scenes, and you know, I told you there's a lot of things about your testimony that really impressed me, and I want to touch upon that because you was telling me, and if you don't mind to disclose it now in this open interview, that's what I'm gonna ask it. When you decided to go back to school, tell us about that, because I mean, people, what I'm asking this, you don't have to say the exact age if you are not comfortable. A lot of females are afraid, and I could tell you this because it also come up in one of our guest speaker. They are actually afraid, as we could say, start over. You know, you started because you want to do it for someone. You have this corporate job, you have this obligation to someone, to an institution, and what's not. But I said this without any fear. We always have something inside of us that we want to do, and it's our passion to do it. And I want to believe that when you took this decision to actually, at that particular stage on your life, we are not talking about you just come out of school and you have it easy and nice, but at that particular point in your life, when you decided, hey, you see, there's more inside of me, and I have to channel this differently, and to be able to channel this differently, I have to go back to school.
I hear you.
Tell us a little bit about that. That is going to set someone free in this life and on the replay.
Let me tell you something. When I decided to go back to school, there were two reasons. One, I was getting a lot of pressure on my job. I was being bypassed for a lot of things, and it could have broken my heart. When I took my first promotional exam, I topped Trinidad and Tobago in terms of the women who took the promotional exam at that point in time. But I was being treated almost as if I was a pariah. I decided, you know what? I have to change my focus from things that were really keeping me down and making me feel as if I have nothing to contribute, or that I am speaking my message to people who are determined not to hear me. And I remember telling a girlfriend, I said, you know what? I don't even care if I'm going back to learn to make tambran ball. I am going to change my focus from the things that are breaking my spirit and towards the things that I think will help me to grow. When I did my bachelor's, I remember writing in the preamble to my research thesis. I tell people I never knew I was so bright until I went back to school. I make no apologies for that. And at 59 years of age today, because I was 59 Sunday last, I want to tell women, I really want to tell women that this thing is not over until you win. It is about you. It is not about people speaking into your life. It is all about you. When I went back to school, when I decided to go back to school, there were people who said really terrible things. They said, what she feels she is, if she don't know that the boss leave her, what is she going to do with all that education? And I remember there was a lecturer of mine who said something to me, and he said the purpose of knowledge is to add to the store of knowledge. You are not getting qualified to put your qualifications in a frame and hang it up. You have to use the God-given tools that you have to make a difference in the world. Because life, like every other resource, time, like every other resource, is finite. So while you are busy listening to everybody else who is speaking doom and gloom into your life, what you are doing is making your time to make a difference become smaller and smaller, and then the window of opportunity will get smaller and smaller. And what happens a lot of the time, Lucia, is that then women start to get afraid because they're afraid to speak their ambitions into the ether, into the universe, saying that this is what I want. I tell entrepreneurs, I tell all my entrepreneurs, all clients, you want to be in entrepreneurship? Here's some of the things that you have to do. Stop talking to people who work 9 to 5. Stop, 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 stop. Not that they don't care. Not that they don't care. They probably care, but they're afraid for you. Because it is very easy for you to sit on a job and bad talk the boss and cry about the conditions of the office or the organization that you're working in. It is harder for you to say, you know what, this is not serving me anymore. And you know what, I could do better than this. And this is what we do. We listen to other people. So you may be a dressmaker and you want to open a dressmaking shop. There are people who you go and talk to a 9 to 5 person or 8 to 4 person. The first thing they will tell you is, girl, you sure you want to do that? Girl, here and it has so much of other people doing that. This is a hard time, you know. The environment, where you go get money for that? So what you gonna do with it, boss? Listen to me and listen to me carefully. I had a mentor. When I did my MSc, I had to work in the United States as part of my internship. I had a foreign internship and a local internship. And I remember having a boss telling me that she only wants to send me to the United States for a week. And I told him that if I don't get to go, I am going to walk off the job because I invested my time, my effort, and my money. You know what it is for you when everybody drinking punch or cream and eating ham, lamb, and jam and your nose in a book? Nobody was going to take that away from me. I made my sacrifices. And if this is your dream, you hold on to your dream. And this is why building a community of like-minded souls is so important. Wow. It is important because if you don't do it, then you will become the best thing that never happened.
Wow. 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 This is like, wow. This is a wow moment, Miss Rhonda.
If
You will become the best thing that never
never
happened.
happened.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Because here's the thing, Lucia. Here's the thing, Lucia. The worst thing is for you to look back at your life, at all the times that the universe was pushing you in the direction of your dream, of your goal, and you let other people speak into that life. Come on. Come on. I had no support, none, no support when I started on this journey. And one of the reasons why I was so drawn to female entrepreneurship is because when I was 27, and this is something that I didn't even tell Lucia tonight, and I want to share this with you. When I was 27 years, I was in a domestic situation with a man who threatened to kill me and cry in my funeral. And I literally had to save my own life by myself, by speaking out against it. And trauma changes people. And I promised myself two things. One, I would never be that woman again. And the second thing that I promised myself is that when I was 27, I wanted a woman to be around who would say to me that it is all right, that you will survive this. And not only that you will survive, that you will thrive. And there was nobody. And you know what I did? I became that woman. I became the woman who is going to speak life into other women's ambitions. And I will be the woman who would reach back and pull women forward. And I have not deviated from that mantra to this day.
Rhonda, I am lost for words right now. I want to ask you so many things, but trust me, I have to really, because you have spoken to me today, and I have to really share this with you as well. I mean, the situation relates. I will say, a survivor of domestic violence, where I was quote unquote basically put to silence. But I say, you see what? You know, for those who actually hear my interview, I'm a foreigner in this land. You know, basically the only of my family that is not in the country. So I had no choice but to make it happen. And I stood also seeing a mother who also was domestically abused. And I remember saying to my mom, I am not going through this. I am going to become that woman that nobody could muscle. And when I found myself many years after trying to be muscle with Rhonda, when I survived that, I say, you see, this mouth is to speak out for women.
Exactly.
And this is, and I'm saying this today, I mean, just permit me to take this little piece. This is one of the reasons God, I believe, give me this platform. Women on Media and Education Network.
Exactly.
It's a platform to empower women. And you talk about something that it also touched me. When they told me there are so many organizations doing things for women, there is never enough to do for women.
Let me tell you something. When I was sitting
and you're speaking to ladies, look, Miss Candice Alexander.
Exactly.
She's
Exactly.
You are a blessing tonight, Miss Rhonda.
Let me tell you something. I tell people I'm not a domestic violence survivor. I'm a domestic violence activist. Because last year during the pandemic, I partnered with UNICEF Jamaica. And if you go up on the UNICEF Jamaica Facebook group page, you will see a docudrama that I did about my own life, which is called Absolute Power. Nobody must hold your story in their back pockets. I am the one who is going to tell every story about myself. And in so telling those stories, I am lifting other women up.
And you are doing that right now.
And I live in my purpose every single day. There are women who are around other women who are not pouring into them. And those are not that's not your group, that is not your tribe, that is not your circle. And when you recognize that, you leave that alone. The reason why women remain, and we're just talking about this as an aside, and we'll get back to entrepreneurship. Because here's
But
the thing.
this is entrepreneurship because let me tell you something. I always say, one of the reasons why a lot of females remain in those situations is because they thought that they could not do without that help.
I will give
If you could stand, and I mean, and this is not a feminist forum, but
No,
I could tell you, Miss Rhonda, I've been teaching for a number of years at the university. I've been doing works with women for a number of years. And one thing that I identify, if females had the ability not to be afraid to become entrepreneurs, they could have said, you see what? Me, I'm not staying to be killed because I have something, I have a skill that I could turn into a business and survive financially. And that is to become an entrepreneur.
Well, let me tell you something. I have a friend, very good friend. We are almost like sisters. She is a white woman. She was living in Portland. She's now back in California, and she's a podcaster. Diane Weingart said something recently where she said that trauma causes a lot of women to become entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
And this is something that has been supported by research. But let's talk about let's talk a little bit about what domestic violence and domestic aggression, because remember, a man grooms you before he ever hits you. What it does and why women remain sometimes in untenable situations, it is not because they don't have options, it is because of shame. They are ashamed of what other people will say. For instance, they're ashamed that they made a bad choice and they internalize the choice as if it was that, like if they were in a relationship with themselves. That is not true. In order for me to survive my abuse, I had to speak my truth everywhere. And I remember my abuser meeting me one day and walking up to me very quietly and whispering in my ear, "Did you have to tell everybody that I used to beat you?" And my response to that was, "Did I lie on you?" And by me speaking my truth in what was a very traumatic situation, that is what changed me completely. It changed me completely. Because I know that the one thing that saves you is the truth. That's the only thing you can stand on. And when we talk about, sometimes we talk about empowering women as if you can give a woman power and by the same token, you could take it away. Because the definition of empowerment is when somebody gives somebody power. I venture to say that I am a powerful woman, full stop. And I do not empower women. I show women that they were always powerful and I help them to stand in their power. Because there is nothing as powerful on the face of this God's planet as women. Women, the reason why women have the ability to be wildly successful as entrepreneurs is because women have the ability to think with both their left and their right brain. The left is detail, the right is creativity. And because of having that double pronged power, anything we put our hands to, as the tune you was listening to before we started, everything that you put your hand to will work, will prosper.
Yes.
But the society likes to tell us that we do not have a voice, and that, as Chimamanda Adichie likes to say, that we like to put women in direct competition with other women, not for success, not for renown, but for men. So there's a mindset that you can't have a good woman friend, or that women cannot be each other's friends. And yes, Joanna, I personally believe that women thrive. Women become wildly powerful and wildly successful when they partner with other women. Because listen, ladies, listen to me carefully. We do not have different stories. We just have the same stories in different versions. We do not have different stories. So when you see Lucia and you see me on social media, and in your mind, what I'm talking about, they don't know nothing. Rhonda living her best life. Rhonda always on social media. Rhonda created everything that Rhonda had to create because Rhonda had no choice but to keep going forward. That's all. That's the only choice I had. And this is what I want to pass on to women as being a business strategist who works with women. This is the message that you can start where you are. You can start scared. You can start with very little. You can start doubting yourself. You can start with everything against you. What you're not supposed to do is not start.
Correct.
That is what you're not supposed to do. That is what you're not supposed to do. So this message is a message I will talk about these things until Jesus is ready for me. Because I'm already standing in my purpose. I am already standing in my power. And there are a lot of people who would be they would be content to just stand in their power. And according to W.O.M.E.N said it just this week, where they want to stand on the stage, but they don't want to sit in the audience. And he was absolutely correct. W.O.M.E.N was absolutely correct in that our job, my job, Lucia's job, is to bring women forward, to bring them forward, to use what we know, what I have acquired in 30 odd years in the aviation industry. That is experiential knowledge that is just as good as money in the bank. So when I talk about these things, I'm not talking off the top of my head. I'm not talking off the fact that I have 4 degrees. That does not define me. Those things are tools. I am talking about your mindset and why it is important for you to acquire the mindset of a winner. Otherwise, nothing wins. Not even you. Not even you.
This is just powerful. I mean, extremely. I knew that this interview would have been one of the best of this campaign. So if you are there right there watching us, I want you to share this. I want you to share this. You have to give this gift. This is a gift for any woman. It was a gift for you in this life. Give it as a gift as some other women. And Ms. Rhonda, you have touched on so many things that other female who pass here already talk about and we agreed on. We have to create an environment where we're not competing any longer. One of the things that I stand and please hold women on Media and Education Network accountable at any time. We are not promoting competition. We are here to bring all these women together. Our mission is that we want to deal with multi-issues, women facing a lot of multitude of issues. And we want to deal with those issues or using multi-strategies.
Correct.
This is not one thing fits all. Beside the fact that many of us facing the same issues, we are not facing it on the same way.
Exactly.
Therefore, we want, this platform, this organization want to give you that personalized touch. We want to be able to say, you know what? It is happening to you this way. This is your environment. This is what you could do.
Exactly.
This is what you could do. And I am, let me give you this premiere. I want, we have it in all our social medias. We have the form. Fill out the form. We want to hear from you. We want to support your business by giving your business visibility, by giving you a platform where you could talk about your business, but not only about your business, a platform where you could share your testimony and touch some of the women. We coming up with so much to offer, a program that will be so diverse. We want to touch women across, and we always need the help of our men. I'm Stalin, blessing to you as well, a great supporter of female entrepreneurs. And ladies and gents, we choose the topic of entrepreneurship for this month, but more will come. We are going to talk about other topics, but our vision is not just to stay on the conversation. Our vision is to take action, to actually help. And I always say, I don't want to give you a fish.
I want to
give you the fishing rod. But to be able to give you the fishing rod, I first have to teach you how to fish.
Exactly.
And if you are afraid to go in the water and fish for your food, I want to connect you with ladies who have been hungry and had to step out of the boat, right, and wet their feet and catch the fish.
Exactly.
This is what our vision is about. We want to see a woman that we could identify the talents, and even when she feels she's a good for nothing, we're going to turn she into a superstar.
Exactly.
This is the idea. We're starting with entrepreneurship, but we're going beyond. This morning, and I thank God because he always inspires me. On my personal profile, Lucia Jones on Facebook, I just put out a post and I tell, where are my women? What do you think are the most top topics? Because we don't want to come with topics of our own. We want to bring to the table your topic, what you want to hear. We are not here for fame, not for glory. All the glory is for God. We are on a mission. We could have millions of females, women, groups. There is never enough because our problems
are basically saying. So
this is what we want.
So this is something that I want to leave with all entrepreneurs, male or female, aspiring startups, people who are already in the entrepreneurial world. Mindset is everything. Business is neither male nor female. Business is just business. If you do not have a process or a system in your business, you will forever be working in your business and not on your business. And your business needs you to be able to do both. So here are the 4 questions that you need to ask yourself in your business, no matter how small it is, no matter how big it is. Question number 1. Why are you in business? And I want you guys to write it down tonight. And if you care to, or if you're motivated enough to, you can send it to me. I'll give you the link after coming down to the end. So the first question is, why are you in business? The second question, and I talk about it all the time, who are you going to serve? Because not everybody is your customer. No matter how good your product or your service is, there are people who are not going to like it and they're not going to like you. I am on this live tonight and there are people who are not going to like me. The solution to that problem, get over it. That is the solution to that problem. Stop thinking about it. How is the third question. How are you going to serve them? That is the third question. And the fourth question is, and this is probably the most important question, why should they care? Because I don't care what kind of business you are in. You have to give the client a reason to care about what you are doing. It is not as simple as I have peas, come and buy it. It is not as simple as every post that you put up on social media is about selling. Think about it for a second. If you had a friend and every time that friend sees you, oh gosh, Lucia, I have this to sell, I have a hat to sell, a shoes, you know what you start to do? You start to duck that person. You start to avoid that person. So you have to give them a reason to care. And the reason how that reason comes about is you have to know your client backwards and forwards. You have to know their pain points. You have to know what are their challenges. You have to know the most basic things about them. And a lot of the time, companies fail because there's a disconnect between what they are selling and who they are selling it for.
Your persona.
There are people who are leaving money on the table because they cannot answer those 4 questions convincingly enough. And it does not matter how long you have been in business. You have to ask those questions ever so often because those questions will determine your mission and your vision. Those questions will determine your customer profile. Those questions will determine the color of your website. Those questions will determine the font. Those questions will determine the imagery on your social media and every other part of your brand assets. And they will also determine what kind of value you are going to bring to the table. Because just as Lucia said, there are many people who are doing social media and it is now a digital landscape. And you have to get in, not where you fit in, you have to get in where you are going to stand out. Because if you are bringing value to the table, then price becomes immaterial. As entrepreneurs, we are afraid to call our price for our products or our services because we have not drenched our products and our services in the things that our clients believe, the solutions that we are bringing into their lives, and the transformation that your clients actually want. Not what you feel they want, what they want. So this is what a company like mine, a business strategist is not going to tell you what you want to hear. That's not what you're paying me for. You are paying me to tell you what you need to hear and how to fix it. And if you are not interested in pouring into your business, pouring into your dreams, for me to go from a certificate to a doctorate is nearly $500,000. Trust me, I didn't have $500,000. Trust me when I tell you this. I started little by little, as the Tobagonians like to say, one just fill the basket. Little by little, I asked God to help me to find a way. And if I couldn't find a way over, I found a way under. But listen, there is not a day that I was not scared. And one thing entrepreneurs have to be able to do is become comfortable in uncertainty and develop an appetite for risk. Because business is about risk, and business is also about failure. And you are going to fail your way all the way to success. So do not take failure personally. It is not personal. It is just think of it as R&D. Think about it as research and development. Before the light bulb was invented, I'm quite certain there were millions of tests over and over where the light bulb did not work. Every single thing that we take for granted today was not done overnight. And this is why women are so suited to entrepreneurship. Because women are more afraid, and this is going to be a big one for a lot of you to accept. Women are comfortable with failure. It is success that frightens us. It is our light that frightens us, not the darkness. Society has already told us that we are not enough, and we have believed that. But what if we were? What if we were? What if we were everything that we thought we were ever going to be? I am 59, and I tell people I knew who I wanted to be when I was 8 years old. And it took me 51 years to become that person. I do not want that for you. I am in the business of female entrepreneurship, especially for Latin America, Central America, and the Caribbean, because we are on the cusp of a big, fast development for our region, and we have to be part of that narrative. And if we are not part of that narrative, then other people will be speaking for us, and that cannot happen. That cannot happen. I tell people, I am not a Trinidadian brand. If you go up on my website, you will see it. I am not a Trinidadian brand. I am a global brand that is run by a Trinidadian woman. That is a different conversation altogether. I am a Caribbean woman. I am birthed in a Caribbean narrative. I come from a history of indentureship. My grandmother came from India. I come from a history of slavery. I come from a history of colonial masters. I come from a history of all kinds of different people that mix up all how. This is who I am. This is how I show up. This is what makes me stand out. I am the quintessential Caribbean woman. I don't want to be anybody else. And I want you tonight to take one thing away from this. That it is not over until you win. That it is not over until you win. And every single day, there is another opportunity for you to win. There is another opportunity for you to become anybody that you want to be. And there is another opportunity for you to say that this no longer serves me and to walk away from it. And it also means that you may have to walk away from a life partner. You may have to walk away from a job. You may have to walk away from family members. You may have to walk away from so-called friends who are not pouring into you. But everything that you want wants you. And you have to lean into that. That is all you have to do. Don't try to make it harder than that. Don't overthink it. It is going to be hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. That is why not everybody doing it. It's not for everybody. This thing is not for everybody. But for the people who are going to make it in entrepreneurship, trust me, in the process of entrepreneurship, you will become the person that you were always supposed to be. So think about it like an onion. An onion is composed of skin. So the first skin that you're going to pull off on entrepreneurship is who society taught you were going to be. And then you're going to pull off the other skin of who you thought it was going to be. And then you're going to pull off another skin of what you thought your life path was going to be. And then you're going to pull out another skin that is going to tell you who you are becoming. And when all those skins have been pulled out, there you will stand, the very best version of yourself, and you will be comfortable with that person. And that person doesn't have to be anything that anybody, including you yourself, ever thought that you were going to become. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, and think about how much potential that is still inside of you, because every day you are getting the opportunity to start over.
Wow, wow, wow. What could I say? Ladies, if you have been blessed, please share this with someone. Share it. Whatever it takes, share it. Listen to it over and over, because I am learning, I am relearning, I am reinforcing myself tonight. And I am being so honest. I mean, you was talking, and inside of me, there are instances that I really got emotional. Because, you know, when you're thinking that you are alone, that what you went through, nobody else had it as hard, God always have a moment, a speech, an interview, a comment to tell you you are not alone. You are not alone. Use it. Keep speaking about it. Once upon a time, people, well, you have to talk about that, but this is not something to talk this. But again, yes, again and again, until we met Rhonda Glynn tonight, to reaffirm that the best way to become the best version of us is also helping another woman.
Exactly.
Is pouring out, is leaving this earth with
Empty.
nothing inside. With nothing inside. We give all. We give all. We are not doing it anymore for us. We went through it already. We already are entrepreneurs. We already turned those stumbling blocks into successful entrepreneurship careers. Please don't do it for you. Do it for someone else. Do it so that when you leave the earth, right, you're still there, because somebody would have get and take so much from what you pour out. That Lucia is gone, but she's still there. I am seeing Lucia anytime that I see one of the persons that she interviewed, that Jimmy interviewed. I am seeing women anytime that I remember this interview, when she interviewed Miss Rhonda Glynn. They are there. We are not hearing from them anymore, but they are still here, whispering in our ears. They are still here because my business was stuck and I was able to move on. You understand? They are still here because maybe I didn't know Nicole Pichery, I didn't know Mrs. Bola Gopol, I didn't know Candice. You understand? But now we became a community of women who are not tearing apart other women's. We became a community where I am celebrating from the heart your business because you are success. When I'm going to your page and giving it like, I am putting in comments, I am helping you to get visibility. And that is what this whole entire month have been about. We have our form that I will put it again on this live, on the comments. We want to hear from you. We want to be able to feature you in our upcoming campaigns. We want to be able to actually follow your page. We want to be able to mention you in our stories, you and your business. We want to be able to celebrate you. We want to be able to let the other females knows that there is one like you who do this kind of business, how you all could connect. This is what this month of August, and I mean, all glory to God, but only having 2 more interviews to get done, Sunday and Tuesday. I think that we have done so far so good. The fact that I am interviewing Miss Rhonda here tonight, how I got to Miss Rhonda, how women got to Miss Rhonda, how Miss Rhonda got to know about women. We just have to interview Candice McGlaw. That is what it took. It only took to feature Candice McGlaw on this platform so that today we are featuring Rhonda Glynn. That was all. We are not afraid to celebrate your accomplishments, ladies, women. We are not afraid. We are not competing. All of us are on a mission, and is to see women excel. That is our mission. After everything said and done, the glory is for God. We was just the instrument. We want to be known for being community builders, not community tearers. They have to say, Women-Owned Media and Education Network, give me the opportunity to actually network with Miss Rhonda. Look, after that interview, I am doing such and such work with Miss Rhonda. Miss Rhonda has helped my business to go from zero to hero. We want collaboration. We want to educate. I mean, many of us in this platform have gone through the route of being educated already. Who else are we going to be educating? Who else? We are all in business. Yes, part of the business or the purpose of a business is to make money. You making money on your own business. But what are you giving?
Mhm.
What are you giving? And this is the closing message for tonight. I mean, I got so excited, Miss Rhonda. I have to say, thank you so much.
It was a total pleasure. I would
Thank
want
you so
I
much.
would want people to start to shop also intentionally, because if you want the ecosystem to grow, then it means that you have to contribute to the ecosystem growing. And in my case, I only shop from small business owners and startup companies. Everything. 85% of all my purchases are done that way. Some people may not have such a high number, but because I work in the industry, I think I have to pay forward into the industry. But I am saying that for every dollar that you spend in the small business community, that it allows the small business owner to probably employ somebody to expand their business, to get a little more wherewithal, to buy some more product, to sell some more services. So, as Candice would tell you, I do business mixers, I do one-on-one coaching, I do branding, business planning, everything. So, if you want to know more about me, check out my website, which is www.rhondaglynn.com, and you can always reach out to me via email, which is info@rhondaglynn.com, or you could WhatsApp me at 265-8565. We're getting ready to migrate one of the business number to Digicel.
Awesome. I mean, it's a pity I didn't have that written down offhand, so I would have posted here. But if you go back and listen over to this interview, you will have the information. www.rhondaglynn.com. Is that correct?
That's it. Yes, it is.
Right. So, and
Easy
just
like that.
contact.
info@rhondaglynn.com as well. So it's very, very easy for you to follow. You could follow my Facebook page, my Instagram page. I'm also on LinkedIn. And I have also started to do a lot more live. So you see me, you will also see back issues because I just came off a limited live series. And if you go to my profile, you'll see everything there.
Awesome.
And always remember that the fight is not against each other. The
That's
fight
all.
is against poverty. So thank you so much, Lucia.
And
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And good night, ladies. Remember, you could come and actually, if you have not done so as well, come and like our page right here on Facebook. We are also on Instagram. This entire community is following us, and we following each other. We helping each other to move up. So you'll have an amazing and blessed night. Share this interview and look at it over. It's going to be also on our other channels. Look out for it. So enjoy the rest of the night, and God richly bless you. Bye bye.